Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I am Rachel Burr. I'm the author of Butterfly Goo, The Down and Dirty Truth of Transformation. And today we are going to go into the goo with Sue Guiher. Welcome, Sue.
Hello, Rachel. So great to see you.
It's so great to see you. So Sue is going to share with us her own transformational journey today. But let me start off. Sue, why don't you just tell us something about yourself?
Ooh, let's see. Oh boy, a little bit about myself. So I have been in the transformation kind of business for over 25 years. I come out of healthcare, and I am a executive advisor and communications consultant. And I also teach at Wharton, where I help people transform, students transform into more confident speakers and hopefully people. And I get to play with you and other cool people just like you in the coaching consulting space. So it's always a good thing.
I love that. Yes. Sue and I have known each other for quite a while now and are collaborating on a number of different things. She's fabulous. So if you need someone to help you with your public speaking presence, absolutely reach out to her, and we'll have that information at the end of our conversation today.
Look at this, a plug at the beginning.
I know. I'm a big, like, make sure everybody, because I have such fabulous people in my village, just like you. So I want other people to experience my fabulous.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Well, let's jump in. So we're going to start off talking about kind of your GUI transformation, and tell us a little bit about maybe one that has stood out to you or one that has been particularly important for you.
So, oh my goodness. And so throughout your book, I kept saying, oh, me too, me too. Oh, me too, me too. So I think the one probably gooeyest was when I decided to leave corporate America now 25 years ago. So I was a senior leadership exec for a mid-sized rehab company and had 85 staff, 9 supervisors, was doing my thing as a speech language pathologist and training people and everything else. And then we were bought out twice in 2 months.
In 2 months?
2 months, yes. So May, we were bought out by a slightly larger company. And then June, a really large. And no one saw the second buyout, not even the owner of our company. Kind of foresaw the first buyout. I kind of saw us kind of making connections with this other company. But the first company bought us, so the second company would buy them. Healthcare was rapidly changing. Our company was ready a year in advance. And so it took 3 years to blend our 3 cultures. And so I was on that change management team. And at the end of that 3 years, which was an interesting time, I started looking around and going, I don't really like this company that I now need to work for. And I also just had a baby. So July 31st, 1999, I became a mom for the first time. A very gooey experience.
Literally.
Literally.
Metaphorically and literally.
Yes. And so then when Matt was 2 months old, I spent a month in Geneva, Switzerland. And I always say my life changed having seen the moon on the other side of the world. I was a workaholic before I left. And when I was over there during that month, I was just Madame avec bébé. And I really started experiencing a different way of being. And I was like, you know what? I want to be that person. And so when I came back, November 1st, 1999, I went back and had a management meeting, was looking around going, I don't really care about this, which was shocking to me because had been my life for a long time. And then I took my first coaching class that night and I went, oh, I've been coaching people for 15 years without even knowing. And that's when people still said, oh, you're a coach. What sport? Like, coaching, like people didn't know about coaching. So here I was, a corporate exec that decided I'm going to leave and start my own business. And as my father said to me, what do you know about owning your own business? And what are you going to do? I had 2 master's degrees. I had done my doctoral work. And here I am deciding to start a whole new business with a newborn. And so I think that was a huge transformation. I always say, for those of you who own your own business, it's a roller coaster. I learned so much over the past 25 years. In fact, that baby now works for me full time, which is so awesome and amazing because so much of my life changed because of him, and for him and for myself. So I think that's probably one of the gooeyest, because I learned, one, how to be a mom, and then how to be a business owner, and how to transition in a whole lot of ways all at once.
Just jumping into the deep end on that one,
Jumping into
all
the
the way
deep end.
around.
Yes, jumping into the deep end.
I love that. And I think that's what's important about that too, is that when we talk about going into the goo or transformation, one, it's probably pretty rare that it's only one, at a time.
Yeah.
Or even if we think it's one, we don't always appreciate the different component parts and how they may actually pull us in different directions, that it's not that linear growth process, that it feels more like, do you remember those Stretch Armstrong dolls?
Yes, that's exactly what they, yes,
I know, yes. And for those of you who are out there who are probably, maybe a different generation of toys, it was this, doll that was Stretch Armstrong, or I think they had the Hulk or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a semi, hard rubber or something, but you could just stretch these dolls to the point where technically you can break them, especially if you put them in the freezer first.
Oh, yeah.
But
Nothing's
it would
good
take,
if it's really cold.
No, but it would take a lot. And I think when you're describing it, I can just feel you being stretched, even farther than you ever thought possible in order to go through this transformation.
Yep. We always talk about being flexible. Gumby also was another one. Gumby. You could stretch them like Stretch Armstrong, but you could like flex them around,
A little flexing, yes.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so tell me, because I know earlier you said, a number of things resonated for you in the book. And when you think about that time of transformation and some of the key aspects for you, what was it, a few things in particular maybe that really resonated for you in the book?
I think one of them was the fact that, well, a couple things, yes. So we'll start with one. One of them was when you seem to have like the ideal job, like I just described, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to move on and do something completely different. And people were like, are you crazy? Like, Rachel, you finally got here. Are you crazy? And I had people that just said the same thing. My father, especially, parents will do that to us. Family members are the most, supportive. All in your best interest. So I think that was a one that I was really resonating with because of that major transformation. Not a transformation, but an aside. So loved when you talked about the first time that you met your future in-laws. And because of me being in France this past summer and asking not for the toilet. And also eating all day long. I thought, oh my gosh, yes, how do you do that? So they were just like funny, laugh out loud, kind of like, oh my gosh, I could so see myself sitting at that table, not being able to communicate, and then figuring out, oh my God, if I have to eat another thing, but I'm going to because I need to, right? So there's like those moments in our lives where we're put into situations where we need to navigate, whether it's a different language, whether it's different customs, whether it's just how to make a good impression and you're really not quite sure how. Like all of those additional things I also really resonated with.
I love that. And just to be clear too, I know Sue knows this, but for all of my in-laws out there listening to this, just know if you haven't read the book yet, it is all good stuff. And
It's all good stuff.
It's all good stuff. I love you dearly. And I also know you were there sitting on the other side of me. And I cannot imagine when your, son, brother, cousin brought home, this woman who spoke no French, and he tried to explain that I spoke no French, and I'm sure he must have been thinking, what is he doing?
Because at that point, it was only a couple of months.
Yeah, we'd only been dating a couple months. So, and it was like, hey, everybody, I'm bringing home this woman for a week, and we're gonna spend New Year's together. And they have always been nothing but lovely to me. It's been I always said too, I have to believe that as a mom, and you can resonate more with this
Hmm.
probably than I can,
Yeah.
but to have your son kind of call up and say, "Hey, you know how I was only going to be in California for 3 years?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not coming back." And
Ooh.
even at our wedding, my brother-in-law, Nicola's sister's husband, who's fabulous, he did the toast, and he said, when Nicola did that, and he said, "I'm not coming home," he said, "We weren't very happy."
Yeah.
And then he said, this is so beautiful. He said, "But then we got to know Rachel as a daughter, as a sister, as a cousin,
Mm,
as a friend." And I, I just, I could not have asked for a better welcome into the family.
mm. Throughout that through that description of that exchange, you did it very, very well, and that you felt like they were like, "Ooh, she is something special," and they were also really they were intrigued by you, but they were also very respectful and very caring
They were,
of you,
yeah,
and which showed a lot of about the love that they had, obviously, for Nicola and
yeah.
their son. All of that. Cousin, brother, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has a big family, so lots of
Yeah, you could
cousins, and
feel
they're
that. You
close.
could
So
feel that,
yeah,
like the people that said, "Oh my gosh, I knew we should have been at our table because now we're going to see all the pictures."
yeah, now they're going to be in all these pictures. Yeah,
Curiosity. We all want a picture of her.
yeah. And I'm sure people out there have found themselves in situations, maybe not where you're surrounded by people who don't speak the same language at all, but in situations that are completely unfamiliar, where everybody else in the group or arena is very connected and is
Oh
very
yeah,
comfortable, and
yeah.
you're the odd person out. And it's an interesting experience, not only to get to know them, but to watch yourself and how you show up in that kind of change.
Yes, yes. In those uncomfortable moments, how do you show up in those uncomfortable moments? Oh, yeah, really good point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so tell me, so when you think kind of overall of this, icky, sticky, gooey transformation of leaving corporate,
Mhm.
starting your own business, having a child, all at the same time,
Yes.
if you know there are people out there who are either starting their journey or who are already on their journey, what's, say, one thing that you would want them to know about transformation and change based on what you've gone through?
I love this question because the way I see the world is through transformation. And I think people view transformation with the big T is transformation. And really, transformation is, in my view, is always striving just to do just a little bit better or make a little bit of change or moving forward, which is why I've been talking about thriving for years before it became a buzzword. And I truly, if you know the definition of thriving, thriving is to move forward despite of or because of circumstance or obstacle. And I've added, as long as you continue to take one step forward every day. And so it's really that transformation doesn't have to be the big T. It's really the willingness to continue to take one step forward. And I love that as a business owner, and because it allows me to take risks. It allows me to have do-overs. It allows me not to think I have to be perfect, because you know what? I can take one step forward and it not quite work. And sometimes I take two steps backwards and then I just turn around and take one step forward again. So if you always continue, I think, like, think of transformation as a little t. And when you have a lot of little t's, they end up being the big T. And when we talk about the goo of that, it's allow yourself to make mistakes. It's like allow yourself to do things that are uncomfortable and know that you can continue just to move forward. And that's really all it's about. One step forward every day. And then all of a sudden you're across the country, or you're in a brand new job, or a brand new career, or you've learned a new something by putting those steps together.
I love that. I think you're absolutely right, because I think the big T is one of those things that it's so intimidating about transformation. And it's one of the things that keeps people stuck because they look at it, like jumping
Yeah.
the Empire State Building, right?
Yeah.
They're like, I can't do that. And maybe overnight you can't. Maybe
Right.
overnight none of us can. But, assuming the elevator is not working for the Empire State Building.
That's right. Yeah, there you go.
If you take one step after another, and then the kind of cool thing too is you get to that point kind of way down the road, and when you take a look back and see where it almost feels surreal. It's like, really, did I do all that? Is this where I am? It's amazing.
Yeah. I love the looking back and recognize it. I usually use like the analogy of and I don't mountain climb because I'm afraid of heights, but imagine, the mountain climbers, they always have the ledge, the plateau, because you're looking at rock and you're climbing, or taking that one step up. But when they get to the plateau, they don't just stand there and rest and keep looking at the rock face. They turn around and they look at the amazing view in front of them, but how far they've come, and really appreciate that. And I think that is something that many people don't do.
Yeah.
And if you don't take that first step, as we know, the universe decides for us and sends us those iron skillets. Be careful. Be careful of iron skillets. And if you don't know what we're talking about, you need to read.
You need to read the book.
And you need to read the book so that you were, because now I'm a little frightened of anyone with an iron skillet. I'm like, I better take some action because the universe wields a really heavy skillet.
It does.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
One of the things I like, and I feel like this, and it's not just me. I feel like all of us can do this, but I think sometimes when we feel like we look back and we think about how far we've come, and we appreciate it for us, and that can seem a little kind of like very ego kind of centric potentially, but I see it differently. I see it almost like at every phase of that journey, I was someone different. It was almost like there was this little girl, there was this 20-year-old, there was this person. And looking back, a lot of those hurdles that they went through don't seem big now from where I am. Yeah. But I know how monumental they were. And I am so grateful that those women took the chances they did. They took the risks. They went into the goo, and they helped us get here as a whole. And therefore, I feel the responsibility to continue to carry that torch, to continue to push the limits, do things new, so that my future self eventually will look back and say, thank you for getting us here.
Yes. Yeah. And it is interesting that sometimes we look back and go, why did I feel like it was so hard? Well, because I didn't have the skill at the time. I didn't have the confidence at the time. I was making it hard at the time, whatever it is. But those are, in our life's big toolbox, they were just additional tools that we just kept putting in or making better, sharpening those tools, and which got us to where we are, as you said, now, and where we can continue to go. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your goo.
Thank you.
If people do want to find you, first of all, what would prompt them to reach out to you? What is it you would like to offer? And second, where do they find you?
So, well, there's a lot of different things. I would love to just have chats with people, so I love connecting with people as colleagues or potential clients. That's cool too. My website is Thrive, THRIVE, the number 4 success.com, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. This space, Sue Conrad Guiher, Guiher. Let me know that you saw me chatting with Rachel, and what you want to connect for. Happy to connect with anyone in either of those spaces.
Love that. And of course, if anyone wants to check out my book, and I hope you do, you can find
fabulous.
that. Thank you. Love that.
Yes.
And I'm not paying her to say that, to be clear.
No. She is not. I loved it, and we'll probably read it a second time because, just grab a cup of coffee, tea, whatever, and settle on down, because you truly are having a conversation with a really funny, a bit snarky, which I love, snarky friend who... The best way to describe this is, and I've described this before, and I always say it is, Rachel in this book and in person is the kind of friend who will tell you, you don't want to wear that outfit. Which is good because she's honest, but we'll say, oh my gosh, you look amazing in that outfit. So, or you don't want to do that, but yes, yay for you for doing this. Like, she'll tell it like it is, and that comes through in the book. You feel like you were just having a conversation with Rachel. So go get it. Go get it now.
I love that. Thank you. And and if you do want to go get it, it's at butterflygoobook.net, or you can go on Amazon and just search for Rachel Burr. It'll pop up. The other thing I'll say is, if you go to the website, butterflygoobook.net, if you go to the upper right-hand corner, there are all the exercises that in the book. There's a playground area in the back, so you can start exploring your own transformation, play around with it. You can download these exercises at any point. So they're there right now. They're absolutely doable without even knowing the book. Some of the terminology may not make total sense. Like if you run across the word Q-tip, you won't really understand what that is until you actually read the book. But the exercise, nonetheless, is very helpful. So that's, absolutely. So thank you, Sue, for being here with us today.
So happy.
Yay. And thank you all for joining us. And thank you for going with us through the Goo.